In today's video, I have all new Dollar Tree farmhouse DIY home decor that you can do at home. So let's jump right in. Oh my goodness, you guys, this project is so quick and easy, and I absolutely love how it turned out. I grabbed this rectangular wood frame from the Dollar Tree. I do believe it was $3 in the Dollar Tree Plus section. All I'm going to do is completely cover it with black chalk paint. Once the black chalk paint was completely dry, I'm going to take these black stones from Dollar Tree. They are like a river rock, decorative rocks. They are mostly flat, and that's exactly what I wanted. And I'm going to start taking them and placing them right inside the center of the frame. I don't start hot gluing them down until I kind of had a feel for how I wanted things to go. And then I grab the hot glue gun and I start hot gluing all of these rocks down. The thing here is you want to go for the flattest rocks, and you want to try and have each rock touching one another. Another thing that you can do is once you have all the rocks glued down, you can pour in some clear acrylic and it will make it flat and just absolutely gorgeous. I decided I was not going to do that, and I was using it just as is because it's going to work perfectly fine. So now I'm going to add these new Dollar Tree metal handles. These are so cool, and I was so excited to find them. They do come with screws. However, I messed the holes up when I did that, so I just had to glue mine on for decorative purposes. This next DIY is going to be super quick, simple, and easy to do. So you're going to need one of these barn-shaped MDF decor pieces from Dollar Tree. And I personally love the barn shape, however, I want it to look more like a barn. So this wood piece up here at the top, you can just take a Cricut spatula or butter knife, however you would like to pop it off, and just pop it off. There is these tiny little like brad nails on there, so you will have to be careful of that, but I didn't worry about pulling them out because I will also be using them to place that piece back on. I was going to start painting directly on top of the barn shape. However, I was worried that the lettering would show through. Even though the calendar page I'm using is more on the darker side, I was just not wanting to have to ruin this DIY, so I went ahead and peeled off as much as I could and then sanded it down. So then I go in with the white chalk paint and I give it a nice coat. So again, the lettering does not show through since I could not peel them completely off. Once my chalk paint was dry and my background is nice and plain and no letters are going to show through, I'm going to be using another one of the new 2024 Farmhouse Dollar Tree calendars. And of course, the page that I will be using is this page with the barn on it. I pulled out the page that I wanted, and then I'm going to take my scissors and cut around the barn. I do leave a little bit of space because we will be sanding off the excess after we add it to our barn shape. Now that it's time to add the barn cutout onto the actual barn shape, we're going to be using Mod Podge, and again, I make sure to add a thicker coat than I normally would just because of how thick the calendar paper is. Next, I grab the wood-looking roof from the barn shape that I took off in the beginning, and I line it with the roof on the barn shape cutout. Then I just line up the roof with the actual shape, and then all you have to do is remove the wood piece, and you're going to flatten that out so that there is no air bubbles and the actual shape of the barn will be right where it needs to be. There was a little bit of the calendar page that hung off the sides, so all I did was take my zip sander and I sanded all of that excess off. Stuff like this my zip sander is perfect for. I will definitely have this linked down below in the description box as well as in products. Once I had all the excess sanded off, I did go ahead and cover it completely with a coat of Mod Podge. Now all there is left to do is glue the roof piece back in its original position, and this little barn is done. For this project, I'm going to be using 2 of the Dollar Tree wood crates, and then I'm taking some black chalk paint and I'm going to paint the fronts, side, bottom, and inside both of the crates. Next, I will also be using 2 of these Dollar Tree metal arches. You guys, I absolutely love how quick and easy this project is. Now I'm going to take the crate, and as you can see, I did not paint the back because I'm going to be taking some Gorilla Glue hot glue, and I do end up adding some Fix-All adhesive as well. My glue gun was jammed up. It was just a complete mess, but we got it on there. I just simply glued each one of the crates down at the bottom of the arch, and this project was complete. For this project, I'm using 4 of these rectangular shape fall wall decor frames from Dollar Tree. I do go ahead and remove this inner piece here, and then I also remove the backing. Once you remove the backing, there are these little tabs here, but if you wiggle them, they will come out. If it's hard to get them out, you definitely can use pliers to pull them out as well. Once I had all the little black tabs pulled off, I did also take my scissors and remove the hanger. And now I'm just going to repeat that step with all 3 of the other frames. Now that I have just the actual framing left, I want to attach 2 of them and then the other 2. I got these popsicle sticks or craft sticks from a very sweet subscriber of mine, Kelly Bianco. She is so sweet. She sent me all kinds of little goodies, and I cannot wait to use so many of those items. To attach the frames, I just took some of the craft sticks. I did have to cut a few of them in half, but all I did was just glue them down so that the frames will stay together. Now, I glued some of the craft sticks up at the top and the bottom, but I should have left the bottom empty, and you'll see why in just a second. Once I had the first 2 frames done, I repeated the same steps, attaching the 2 frames together with the popsicle sticks. Listen, I know they're called craft sticks, but I call them popsicle sticks, and I just always have. Now here is where I realized I should not have put any of the craft sticks, popsicle sticks on the bottom, because I did have to remove them and then attach all 4 of the frames together. Once all 4 of the frames are together, this is how it should look, and I decided to add a little bit of detail on the corner with these Dollar Tree stickers. At first I played around with the placement because I wasn't sure exactly how I wanted them to be facing or to be turned, but once I figured out how I wanted them to look, I just went in with some of the Fix-All adhesive, I believe it's like a super glue, and I just glued each one of those corner embellishments right onto the frame. Okay friends, recently I got this 3-pack of distress paintbrushes, and this was my first time using them, and I absolutely loved them. I will have them linked, so you definitely got to check them out. They worked so well, and I highly recommend them. Using my white chalk paint, I just did a very heavy dry brushing, just so that a little bit of the gray was peeking through, but it was majority white, and I did that throughout the entire frame. While I set my frame off to dry, I wanted to create my own wreath. Now, I didn't have a wreath frame the exact size that I needed, so I figured I would just make one using this Dollar Tree garland. Now, I didn't measure how much of the garland that I unraveled, but I did go ahead and double it up just to make it a little bit more substantial and a little bit thicker. The amount of garland that you would need is just going to depend on how big your wreath is going to be. After I had the garland twisted up and I made sure that my wreath was going to be the size that I wanted it to be, I took my scissors and I'm going to cut off, basically just give this thing a really good haircut, and I'm going to cut off a lot of that long greenery just so that it's not sticking out. I feel like this greenery is more of a Christmas or winter look, so I decided I wanted to use this greenery, and I wanted to cut a lot of the other stuff off just so you didn't really see that poking through. This greenery here I actually got from Dollar Tree. It is so pretty, and all I'm going to do is I didn't even pull the pick apart or anything like that. I bent the stem along with the wreath and I hot glued it down. Then I just start taking these long dangly pieces to the greenery and gluing them into place where I would like them to be. Once I had everything glued into place on the first pick, I grab a second pick, and here's where I actually pick the pick apart. The reason why I decided to pull this pick apart is because I want to be able to take these each individual pieces and glue them down to the wreath exactly where I would like them. I wanted to create a center for my wreath, but to be honest, you guys, I am not exactly sure where I got this wood round from. I do know they have them at Walmart, but I could have got it somewhere else. But again, they are at Walmart for a very great price. However, just be careful when you're pulling off the hanger because it did break the wood a little bit, so just be careful when removing that. The sticker came off perfectly fine. Next, I went in with my white chalk paint, gave it a complete coat, and then I also gave it a complete coat of Mod Podge. The reason why I used the Mod Podge is because I'm going to be using this silk screen transfer. I'm not sure if this is from Chalk Couture or if it is off of Amazon. Anything that Chalk Couture has, you can pretty much find it on Amazon. So if you guys ever need one of these Chalk Couture transfers, look on Amazon because you will definitely get them there for a fraction of the price. I decided to use the family word, and I just take my chalk paste and I fill in the transfer. Once I have it completely filled in, I remove it, and then you can run these under the water in the sink and reuse these transfers time and time again. Once everything was dry, I just took some hot glue and glued the wreath right on top of this wood round so that the word family was in the center of the wreath. Now this next step is super simple. All I am going to do is just hot glue this wreath and wood round right in the center. But of course my phone died right as I went to place it down, but here's how it should look. For this DIY, I'll be using one of the wood rounds from Dollar Tree. However, this is the Dollar Tree Plus wood round. It is $3 instead of the $1.25, and it is a lot thicker than the normal wood rounds, which I personally like. If you do not have a Dollar Tree Plus in your area, a normal Dollar Tree wood round will definitely work perfectly for this DIY as well. Using my white chalk paint, I paint the entire front as well as the sides. This wood round does have curved sides on it, which is another thing that I like compared to the regular ones. Once I had my base coat on and the entire wood round was painted white, I'm going to be using this Farm Life 2024 Dollar Tree calendar. This is one of their new farmhouse calendars, and I think this little cow is so adorable. I can't tell if it's like an adult cow or if it's a baby calf, but either way, it's so cute, and I definitely had a really good idea for it. Once I had the page cut out that I wanted, I'm going to make sure that the cow fits onto the wood round exactly how I would like it, and then I'm going to be taking my X-Acto knife at first because it did end up getting a little bit dull and wanted to kind of rip the page, so I did just go back in with my scissors to cut out the rest of the cow. Keep in mind when you are cutting it out, you do want to get as close to the cow as you possibly can. Now that that little beauty is completely cut out, I'm going to be taking some Mod Podge and placing it onto the back of the calendar page so that I can place it onto the wood round. Now anytime that I decoupage, I usually add a little bit of Mod Podge. However, for this one, I am going to be adding a little bit thicker of a coat just simply because the calendar page is a lot thicker than a normal decoupage paper or even a napkin, so really make sure that you get those edges all the way around the cow as well as in the center. Now that I have a nice coat of Mod Podge on the back of my calendar page, I'm just going to make sure that the wood round is facing the right way. There is some, what are they called, crocodile teeth hangers, something like that. There's 2 hangers on the back of the wood round, and you're just going to want to make sure that those are facing the right way and that you're not putting the cow upside down. And when you go to hang the wood round up or add it to something, then your piece is basically going to be upside down. I line the bottom of the cow and the wood round up and then lay the cow flat onto the wood round. I do like to take my Cricut roller and just remove any excess air bubbles. Then I do also take some Mod Podge and go around those edges one more time so that they do not lift up. I don't like to necessarily go over the entire image because for me personally, I know it dries clear, but it does give it a little bit more of a dull look, at least in my opinion. I then take some sandpaper and remove the excess calendar page down at the bottom of the wood round. I personally love the sanding technique because look at how perfect that came out. Now I know the distressed look is not for everyone, so if you don't care for it, you can just skip this step. However, if it's farmhouse, for me, it definitely has to have some distressing. So I'm going to be using this distress ink pad set from Amazon. They do have 4 in a pack, and I will leave the link down below in the description box. These ink pads come in 4 different colors. There is the antique linen, vintage photo, walnut stain, and black soot. And I really like the fact that you can stack them because things like this and this little in my craft room, they get lost and never seen again. So I like the fact that I can stack them and then put them up somewhere and they will all be where they need to be. To add the distressing how I would like it, I use a Dollar Tree stencil brush as well as the color black soot in the ink pads, and I'm just taking the brush and wiping it across the ink pad and placing it all the way around the wood round, as well as adding a few smudges here and there onto the backing. And I did also go in and just kind of add a little bit around the cow itself, just so that it looked like it blended in a little bit more. For any wording, you could add whatever sayings or words that you would like, especially if you have a Cricut. I do have a Cricut, but it was a lazy day and I only wanted the word farmhouse. So I did also have these Dollar Tree rub-on transfers and they worked perfectly. So all I did was cut out the word farmhouse as well as the 2 side greenery looking pieces, and I place it onto the wood round up at the top of the cow where I would like it to be. And then I just start taking my Cricut spatula. You can use a credit card, really just whatever you would like. Sometimes I even use my fingernail, but you know, those are on super lazy days. We're not that lazy today. So I just grabbed the closest thing next to me, which was the Cricut spatula, and I went ahead and scraped the letters onto the wood round. And it really is as simple as that. Then you just remove the front cover and the words are now transferred onto your background. Then I do also take the 2 side greenery pieces and I place them down onto the wood round on either side of the word farmhouse. And just like I did with the word farmhouse, I use my Cricut spatula to scrape them onto the wood round. At Dollar Tree, they have these palettes. They are wood and they come in different sizes and styles. You are going to need 2 of these smaller ones like these ones here and 3 of the larger ones. I removed all the stickers and you guys, I was just playing around with these and ended up finding out that they match and line up perfectly. I wanted to make a little farmhouse crate that I could either put mail or greenery or even kitchen utensils in. So all I'm going to do is take one of the smaller palettes and glue it to the side of the larger palette. And then I'm going to take the other smaller palette and glue it to the other side. Now, once I have those 2 glued on, I take a second larger palette and I'm going to glue it on the other side of the 2 smaller palettes. Did you guys get that? Because as simple as I think it is, I definitely feel like I made it sound a lot more difficult. So thank goodness you guys can see what I'm doing. So now I have this rectangular shaped crate, and I'm going to take that third larger pallet. I keep forgetting what they are, crates, pallets. Oh my goodness, my mind is just going crazy. But I'm going to take the third larger pallet and I'm going to glue it down here at the bottom. And you guys, it fit so perfect. All of this just went together very easy, and I'm so loving how it turned out. So for this crate, I was envisioning a really dark stain, like almost black. So I just took whatever I had that I could put some water in, and I added a little bit of water and a little bit of black paint to create a faux stain. So all you have to do is mix up some paint and water. You can do this with any color, and you're going to paint it on like normal, and you can wipe it off. If you wipe it off, it will make it lighter. You can also just let it dry and the wood will absorb it to where it will still look like a stain. It will just be a little bit darker. I went throughout the entire crate and stained, painted, whatever you would like to call it, this black faux stain all over the insides, outsides, upsides, downsides. Every little spot I completely covered with this faux stain. Here it is almost completely dry, and that is the exact color I was going for. It is gorgeous. I want to create a little embellishment or sign to go on the front of the crate. I got this transfer set off of Amazon. It is an adhesive transfer set, and you can cut each one of these little images off so that you can use them individually. I cut off the image that I wanted, and then I also noticed that these fit on these Dollar Tree wood planks so perfectly. All I had to do was just make a mark along the side so that I knew where to cut it, so I knew how wide my little sign is going to need to be. And I just take an X-Acto knife and I score this a few times so that I'm able to just grab it and then snap it. Now, if you have a brand new blade, this is so quick and easy to do. You do not need any kind of heavy duty tool. A nice new razor blade or box cutter will do the job perfect. So as you see, I just scored it, flipped it over, scored it again, and then I was able to snap it off. I do also sand down the edges and sides. Okay, now that I have my little square cut out and all sanded down, I'm going to go in with some white chalk paint and I'm going to cover the entire front and sides of this little square. Then once the white chalk paint was dry, I just grab this little transfer and place it right down on my white square. Then I'm going to take some black chalk paint, not chalk paint, chalk paste. You can also use chalk paint for these. You just use it just like you would any other kind of stencil. This is chalk paste, and I'm just going to fill in the transfer and then lift it up to reveal the image. Once it was dry, I just hot glued it right to the front of the crate, and this project is complete. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to subscribe and give this video a big thumbs up. It really helps out my channel. I truly hope to see you all and a few new friends on the next one. Bye!